Hello there everyone, Raj here. I hope all of you are doing well. I have a fragrance haul video to share with you today. These are fragrances that I have acquired into my collection, and it's been a really long time since I bought any fragrances actually. It's probably been, I was trying to think, and I think it's about 18 months, a year and a half. There are some fragrances that I had got into my collection back then and then just went through this long period of time of just enjoying the full-size bottles that I have, wearing what I have, finishing a lot of fragrances, a lot of empty bottles, and I just felt like now over the last month or two it just felt like right to go on a bit of a shopping spree and get a few fragrances that I really wanted to get into my collection, so very like specifically targeted them. A few in here which weren't on my radar or just made their way into my collection by generosity, and I'll go into that in this video and also the next one, because this will be a two-part video. I'm waiting on a few fragrances to arrive, so I thought let me just do this one now. There are some vintage fragrances in here. There are some fragrances that were released a long time ago, but the modern day formulations. Maybe one or two modern, a couple of modern fragrances as well. So all the fragrances I mentioned will be in the description. I have a playlist called Fragrance Hauls, Pickups, Acquisitions. I think it's I need to shorten that name, where you can look back at all of the fragrances I've bought all the time, or all the videos that I've done showcasing all of those fragrances. And you can see, how my tastes have changed, which brands I was buying over the years, and all of that kind of thing. So, let's get into the video. Okay, actually, just before I show you what I've bought, I wanted to share with you my scent of the day. This is from Dior. This is Fahrenheit. This is a modern day version of Fahrenheit. I do have a vintage miniature of this and some carded samples, some vintage carded samples, which are, they are amazing. Those vintage versions are amazing. But I went for this one today because I hadn't worn it in a long time, and to be honest, Fahrenheit is one of those fragrances that I don't really reach for very often, a handful of times in a year, and that's mainly because it's a style that I just feel like I need time between each wearing. It is a very assertive fragrance. It is very, I think, quite smoky and leathery. It smells like a green plant in the soil but is on fire. Obviously, people talk about gasoline and the violet leaf note, and that's absolutely correct. But it's a very experimental fragrance for me. This is not my kind of usual style, but it's quite nice to have fragrances like this that allow me to maybe deviate away a little bit from what I normally wear. So it's a great fragrance. Dior Fahrenheit. I love the fact that Dior are still making this. It would be very easy, I imagine, to discontinue, but maybe the sales are quite high actually. I don't really know. So yeah, that's my scent of the day. Okay, so let's get into the first fragrances, or bunch of fragrances actually, on this list. Right, so I say bunch of fragrances because I got a few samples here from the brand Les Indémodables. Very difficult to say that one. This is a nice little pouch that it came with, and it also came with this brochure, which has it kind of has like different images, and it goes into detail of some of the fragrances, how they're made. There's a real emphasis I've noticed with Les Indémodables on the ingredients, and what are the ingredients and how it's made and how it's composed, which I really like. And this is I think she's the owner or the co-founder, Valerie. So I actually tried Les Indémodables many years ago when they first came to London, or first were like stocked or distributed in the UK or just London, in a shop called Les Senteurs. And I remember getting a sample of Fougère Emerald, which was a very interesting fragrance. It's quite a different Fougère, and it was always on my mind, like I need to go back to this brand because I tried a few and the quality of the ingredients really stood out, which impressed me. So yeah, they come in these pretty solid. I think these are like 2 ml. No, actually these are 3 ml. So you get a decent amount of juice here. These are 3 ml too. Yeah, Escal to Escal on Indonesia, something like that. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into these. And maybe what I'll do is, there are quite a few here, so I might split it up and do, you know, a bunch after sampling them and then go back and do the rest. So yeah, guys, let me know. What do you think about this brand? Okay, let's get into the first full-size bottle, and there are 3 here, vintage ones, from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. The first one to mention, which is one that I think I did get this one around a year and a half ago. This is Kouros Fraicheur. And what a beautiful box. I love the box. I love the colors here. You can see the ingredients list, alcohol, fragrance, water, which is often, or it is, a clue that tells you that the fragrance would have been released before the fragrance, the regulations, the new regulations on ingredients listings came out, so like probably before 2003. I do like going into like certain details like that, but I'm not obsessed about every little. There are so many details you can go into when trying to find vintage fragrances. I mean, the key thing is really, how does it smell like, really? Kouros Fraicheur, what a beautiful bottle. This came out in 1993. It is a fresh, yes, it is fair to say it's a fresher version of Kouros. But it still has a kind of punch to it. It has a kind of slightly smoky herbal feel. It's fruity. It doesn't really have all of those wild animalic notes that the original Kouros has, but this fragrance still has a lot of depth into it. It feels like the blueprint for Aventus, to be honest. It's pineapple, it's a little bit smoky, a bit fruity in that sense, a bit musky. You know, this maybe is, you could say it has similarities to the structure of Aventus, not the smell. Unfortunately, the bottle, the sprayer doesn't really work very, very well, so I can't spray this multiple times in a row. I have to wait a little bit. It only sprays out a tiny amount. It takes me like 5 minutes to apply the entire fragrance, but what a fragrance. Great performance. I do like this a lot. I actually really, really like this. I may even prefer this over the original. This has a strange effect on me, or the accords on me as this dries down, of like a lemon cologne, very astringent, on a slightly sweaty t-shirt that smells a touch of cigarettes, but not cigarette smoke, but not like not like a disgusting cigarette smell, just a hint of it on the t-shirt or your shirt, and that's kind of the feel I get with Kouros Fraicheur. I think it's a great fragrance. Right, let's move on to Opium now, and specifically this one is not the original Opium. This is actually a version called Secret de Parfum, which came out in 1992. Jean-Louis Suzac was the perfumer. This was kind of a, this is the box by the way, this was kind of a slightly unexpected purchase of mine. You can see at the bottom there, I have no idea if these things focus or not, but it says Parfum Corp at the bottom there, which will give you an indication of time period of when this was released. And this is the bottle. So this was, yeah, a slightly unusual one for me to add. I was keen on getting into Opium a little bit more, the fragrance that is, not the drug, and I wanted to just explore the accords in it a little bit more. Again, kind of like Fahrenheit, a little bit, you know, you own it just to kind of learn more about the art of perfumery. And this one is pretty phenomenal. It took me a little bit of time to acclimatize to it because it packs a punch. This is a very, very potent fragrance. That cinnamon note in here is really, really strong. I get a lot of bold florals. There's carnation. Is carnation in here? Is it in the breakdown? I don't think it mentions it on Fragrantic, but I get a feeling of like red roses and spices and carnation. Yeah, mandarin, bergamot, lily of the valley, red myrrh, marigold, apoponax, patchouli, vanilla. It's a very balmy fragrance in the sense that you could wear this on a hot, balmy, humid night, and it has layers and layers of thick amber and spices and it feels very, very luxurious. It's like a liquid gold kind of fragrance. That's kind of how I would say it. It also, you know, this Opium as a line does remind me a little bit of Parfum MDCI. This is Chypre Palatin. I think there are definitely some similarities here. Very, very thick and rich and resinous, very, very full-bodied. I don't necessarily wear this like day to day. It's more of those, I might do a little spray on the top of my hand, or maybe one at the front of my chest and one at the back of the neck, and I'm good. Very, very beautiful fragrance, I have to say. Have you guys tried this one, or what do you think about the original Opium? Okay, the next one is the men's version, the Opium Pour Homme, the Eau de Toilette. This is the back of the box, and again it says Parfum Corp, so definitely an older version, which is really, really cool. And here's the bottle, Opium Pour Homme. I don't think they've changed the bottle too much, I believe. I've been meaning to get this fragrance into my collection for a while, actually. I was a little bit late to the game when it comes to Opium. Oh, it's really beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's a much more gentler, stripped back version of Opium. It feels like there are more cool spices. It's not as, I don't want to say chilly, but it has, the spices are toned down. There's, I believe, an aniseed note in here. Let me just double check the note breakdown. Yeah, star anise is, sorry, what I meant to say. Star anise, 1995 release, Jacques Cavalier. And it's sweet, it has a sweetness to it, but it has a very light airiness as well, which I remember going through a large decant of this a while ago, and sweet, slightly vanillic, but not too sweet. It doesn't go in the direction of like a Chypre Pour Homme from Boucheron. It's that, which is a fragrance I would actually quite like to get into my collection also, but this is nicely balanced. I really like this version of Opium. There is an Eau de Parfum version as well, which I never got to try. Oh, I certainly never owned it, but I don't think I tried it also. So yeah, there we go. 3 fragrances from YSL, all vintage versions, all really fantastic and great additions to my collection. Next up, a fragrance from Estee Lauder. This one is Lauder for Men. Again, a fragrance that I've had on my list, on my to buy list for a while. I had a sample of this, which was sent to me by, I think it was it Rich? I think it was Rich Mitch. I think he sent me a sample, very kind of him, or maybe Carl, one of the two. I can't remember now. I really should remember that. But this is the modern day version. I don't know if this fragrance is even in production anymore, to be honest. You got Lauder at the top there. You got the green sort of sticker there at the back. I believe the vintage versions were all gold. I think that's what I've seen online. This one, yeah, cologne spray, made in the USA. This is a superb fragrance. Very, very classic style. Yeah, this would not be produced today, I think it's fair to say, in terms of the mainstream designer fragrances. Nicolas Calderon was the perfumer. 1985 release. Very citric, I find, quite sharp. Has a rich floral, spicy feel to it. It smells like it smells expensive. I don't know. I can't think of a better way to say it, but it does give me that kind of wealthy individual sitting in their study at home, and the study has old books and leather chairs and vintage wooden furniture and, you know, like a fireplace or something like that, you know, classy kind of thing, environment. This cap is so like solid. What a fragrance. It really stands out. It's quite distinctive in the way that it comes across. It does actually remind me of Cerruti 1881 a little bit. That's another fragrance I would love to get into my collection, but not anytime soon. I don't want to go too crazy with all these purchases, so I might wait a while until I get some more fragrances into my collection. Have you tried this one, Lauder for Men? Let me know your thoughts. Alright, next one, and I have actually mentioned this on my Scents of the Week. This one is Pasha de Cartier. This is the vintage version. Beautiful bottle. I love what they've done here, based on the watches actually. And this one, I actually got this in this massive is huge, this box. It's a gift set which comes with the fragrance that you've just seen and a miniature version as well. And it's funny here because it says, I don't know if you, I can't even see. It has a Harrods sticker. I don't know if I'm even getting, you can just about see it. So that's pretty funny. Like, how much did this cost? They've scratched out the price, and it came in this box. And is this the right way around? Yeah, there you go. You've got the miniature in there, which sits in this kind of metal thing. And yeah, it's quite nice. I quite liked it. And Pasha de Cartier, very, very easy to like. Very, very easy. Very, very designer in its execution. Very mass appealing. Soapy, shaving foam, lavender, mossy, earthy, a little bit of spice. Although I find this version to be a bit more sweeter than the modern day version, which has like a deodorant, spicy feel, which is still, I think, pretty good. Again, I don't know if this fragrance is in production or what's going on, but nice to have the vintage version, but I think I would have been equally pleased with the modern day version as well. Right, a couple of fragrances from Aramis, and the first one to show is one that I did have on my kind of to buy list. It wasn't like high up on the list, but I really enjoyed the large decant that I had. And I've got a version here of Tuscany per Uomo, the 30 ml. For some reason, it says special edition or edition spéciale. Created by or créé par Aramis, and it says Firenze, Italia, New York, London, and all kinds of stuff. Made in Switzerland. I don't know what is so special about this release though, to be honest, because the bottle is certainly different. It says special edition or something at the bottom there. Don't really know if that's focusing. But it says Eau de Toilette, natural spray, special edition, made in Switzerland. Yeah, no idea, but I was trying to do a bit of research but couldn't find anything. 1984 release, an aromatic fougere fragrance for men. This is a very solid fragrance. I actually think, from my experience of the modern day version is very nice. I just thought it would be cool to have a vintage version. And look at the bottle, I quite like that. Beautiful fragrance. I wore this a few days ago. Lots of fresh herbs and mosses, and it's a little bit green and aromatic and a bit a touch of citrus in there. It dries down to this woody, mossy base. It's very outdoorsy. Yes, Tuscany per Uomo. It's supposed to remind you of the outdoor, you know, the hills or the kind of greenery and the outdoor kind of life in Tuscany, the sun, the sunshine, and you know, I think this is called Etruscan in Italy, or I've seen that name mentioned before. A really, really nice fragrance. I do like it a lot. It's not like a mind-blowing scent, but really solid. I like it. Have you tried this one? Have you tried the modern day version versus the vintage? Let me know your thoughts. And finally, finishing things off with another Aramis fragrance. This was actually given to me for free by somebody who I bought from on eBay, which was a really nice touch. A completely full bottle of Aramis Devin. This is the modern day version. You can see this style is how the modern day versions of Aramis fragrances look like. Again, I have no idea what's going on with Aramis. I think they've completely, have they just discontinued them all? I don't know. Aramis Devin Country Eau de Cologne. Nice fragrance, I've got to say. I haven't really worn it too much, to be honest. What does it say here? Chypre, 1977. Bernard Chant is the perfumer. Lots of different notes in here. Artemisia, galbanum, pine tree needles, carnation, oak moss. I don't know what the old version smells like. There's probably better, I imagine, given that it's an oak moss chypre fragrance. It smelled very outdoorsy, that's for sure. In a kind of like, I was in a horse stable when I did a couple of sprays. I'm like, I smell like I'm in a horse stable surrounded with hay and fresh country air and green coniferous forest kind of a feel. As I said, I need to wear this a little bit more. I don't really have much experience of it. So that was really nice, and thank you to the seller who gave that to me for free. Very, very generous. So guys, have you tried any of these fragrances? Let me know your thoughts. What fragrances have you picked up recently? Looking forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you on part 2. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.